Welcome back to Endless Summit Podcast.
Yeah, we got it.
I've been rehearsing it in my head for the last week now.
I love it, man.
Endless Summit, Endless Summit, Endless Summit.
Endless Summit Podcast. Endless Summit Podcast. Endless Podcast Summit. No, I'm just playing. So how was your Christmas, man? How was your week?
It was good. Easy week. Spent Christmas in Wendover. And for those of you who don't know where Wendover's at, check it up on the map. It's about an hour and a half, about a little less than an hour and a half west of Salt Lake City. It's a cool town if you haven't been there yet. There's a lot of history behind it, actually. It's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, what's something you learned?
So they did bomber training out there. So it's actually, this is like the coolest part of the town. And the town was actually made for trains. I had to ask Allison's parents all about it because I had no idea what the history of Wendover was. And her mom worked at the visitor center. I'm trying to remember. There's a famous plane that's parked there, and I'm trying to remember which one it is. So give me 1 second to Google it because I am blanking. It dropped the atomic bomb. So they did atomic bomb testing, and they are training, and they also train just bomber groups in general at the air base out there. And when I went out with Allison's stepdad, he was telling me that there used to be a course. So there was, imagine like a horseshoe rail line going into the mountains. Like there's this really cool bowl or like small valley, I guess. And this railroad went up into the mountain crest and made a horseshoe sort of form. And then outside of the horseshoe form, there were these roads or like little tracks that Jeeps would follow. So he was saying that essentially the Army was able to make the Jeeps self-drive. They'd put them in first gear and then put targets on the back of the Jeeps that were tall enough that if when the guys are shooting at them, they wouldn't actually impact the Jeep and make it stop. I'm sure it happened, but they would make them tall enough. And the Jeep would follow this trail, like it was either like a triangle, a square, a circle, or like whatever, a figure eight. And it would follow that trail around. And then the machine gunners that were supposed to be in the planes would then take a train along the rails and they would practice shooting at the targets from the train. Like they'd have the 50 cals and what have you on the back of the trains. So that way the gunners knew where to shoot or where to target practice at. I'm going to look up, hold on a sec. Let me look up the plane name because it's sitting Enola Gay. I believe that's the one that's sitting at the museum there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's in Wendover. Yeah. So the Enola Gay is sitting in Wendover right now, and that's where the bomber group trained. Oh, they moved the plane. Sorry. So it used to be hanging out over there. But they've got really old hangars. Like the base is still active. They fly F-22s and F-35s out of the base. Like they do touch and goes, and they might stay there overnight. I actually looked on Google Map the other day, and you can see 4 F-35s hanging out next to the gate, which I thought was kind of cool. And then, so it's still a very active Air Force base, and they turned the barracks into storage units, which is kind of funny. And yeah, I mean, it's other than that, like the town, it's got 2 casinos, maybe 3 casinos. One of them actually looks like it's closing down when we were driving past it. I don't know if it's because of the town just being too small to sustain it, but they have a concert hall there. They just built a Black Bear Diner, which everybody's super excited about, and they have a whole new gas station. Dude, there was a gas station. Gas was $1.70, and we went to that gas station to fill up Allison's car, and don't know what happened. We pull up, and somebody's spraying down the asphalt in front of the gas station with a power hose, or a power washer. And we pull up to the pump. I'm out. I'm trying to fill up her car, and I got it all set up and ready to go, and I'm pulling on the handle, and there's no pressure. It's just dead, right? And the worker comes walking right over to me, like pretty much like maybe 10 seconds after I started pumping the gas, and he's looking at me and I was like, yeah, there's nothing coming out. And all I hear is fuck, and he like runs back inside. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, nobody else is getting gas. Like everybody is pulling up and nobody's able to get anything in their tanks. And I'm like wondering if somebody's power washing. It looks like there's a lot of liquid on the ground. Like, did somebody hit the emergency cutoff valve? Like, did somebody accidentally pour too much gas and they had to hit the emergency and now they can't get the pressure back up? And so the guy probably at the gas station has no idea. I'm like, man, they're losing so much money. And Maverick right across the street is making so much money. And they were selling gas for $1 more at Maverick. And so Allison are like, all right, screw it. We're just going to run over there and fill up the tank. It's, $2.80 or whatever. But yeah, it was kind of a funny moment. But yeah, other than that, it was good to hang out with Allison's family and her dogs and celebrate Christmas with them. Talk to my parents for a bit. Got some good gifts, got some nice flannels, and my parents helped repair the radio in my Jeep because it's been broken for the last 4 years, and I didn't want to spend so much money on fixing it. My Apple AirPods are doing just as good, but it was time to get something new in there. And Allison and I are kind of we we decided to get cards for each other and write little messages in them and do like small gifts this year because we're going to France in February. And we decided like, okay, let's just spend the money in France, like get some cool things there rather than just buy the usual stuff. And we figured it'd be cooler to get something unique from Europe. Yeah. So I had a podcast recording with that coach, Kevin.
Uh-huh.
That was pretty good. It was like an hour and a half. So, I was gonna ask, we should start planning. I think that'd be a fun thing to kind of plan this week is to get like some other guests on throughout the year. But
I'm down.
I don't want to derail that. Anyway, that was pretty much my week. Yeah. That was it.
There you go, man. Nice.
That was yours.
It was good, man. Like I worked Monday, Tuesday. We had my Christmas party, and that was pretty cool because they made it like for the kids. So like we built like this indoor ice rink where like you do it on socks, and then they had like shops where like if you visited it, you earned coins and you could spend those in like a little shop and get stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And dude, my kids were just going crazy. So they got a lot of stuff from there. So that was pretty cool. And then after that, I had to run a couple of places. My wife and the kids came home. I came and got them. We went shopping. Like, I think I created like a new Christmas tradition because it was pretty cool. Like, we went out and like I essentially told my wife, I was like, all right, we're going to go to stores. I'm going to buy you what you want. Right. Like, I already had her gifts. This was like on top of it. So she went into Lulu, of course. So we got a couple of things from Lulu, and then we went into Nike for me because like a big thing I wanted to do was I wanted to get a pair of Vomeros. They're supposed to be super comfortable, and with all the pain I've been having in my knee, I'm like, all right, Brett, stop getting LeBrons and Jordans and whatnot. Like, get some actual functional shoes, right? And so I went in there, I found a pair, and dude, they are comfortable. And so I got a pair, got Marquis a pair, and then got Marquis like this pair of like furry black clogs from Nike. And then my girls, we went over to Buckle. They wanted to go into Buckle, and I was like, all right, you could get two things, and that's part of your Christmas. And so then they like tried on these clothes and whatnot to find what they wanted, and they got a couple of things. And then we went home and we watched like some Christmas movies. I finished wrapping up presents and whatnot. And then Wednesday, we didn't do much Wednesday. I think we really chilled on Wednesday. And then Christmas was good, man. My kids, we got them a 3D printer, and dude, they're obsessed. Yeah. Because they keep on asking for like 3D printed toys. And me and my wife were just like, well, I told her, I was like, why keep buying these things? Like, why not just buy a 3D printer?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, let's do it. So we got one, and dude, it's been so dope. It's pretty cool. Like, I think the more I get to learn it, right, like, the cooler it'll be. Yeah. We got that, and then we went over to her mom's house because it was her mom's birthday, and did presents and everything there. And then
how'd you know like
kid obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsessed. Like, my youngest is obsessed with the 3D printer. She doesn't give a shit about what Santa got her, bro, because she wanted a tumbling mat, and like they have these big rollers that help them do their back bends, right? So we got Santa, got her those, and she's just like, I don't care. Can we 3D them? And it's like, yeah, let's do it. And then, you know, like, my kids love wrestling, and my daughter's favorite wrestler, dude, is Cody Rhodes. So we got her this Cody Rhodes action figure.
Oh, cool.
Obsessed, bro. So it was really cool. And you know, we've just hung out and watched football. Didn't do much of anything, man. It's been nice because I took Friday off, and so it's been nice to have a break. And then Wi-Fi's down at work this week, so I get to work from home this week. So
that's nice.
Yeah, they're redoing the network.
Okay.
So it'll be down all week because they're rerunning network cables and stuff.
Oh, okay. So
it's like, all right, cool. Like, now I can just work from home and be relaxed and not stress out too much. Dude, it's been good. Like, it was a good week. I still had like a couple of clients. Like, I had a client on Wednesday, client on Friday, and then client Saturday, Sunday. But like, outside of that, man, just chilling and relaxing. Like, I needed it, or time with my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's been good.
Good. Right on.
Yeah, dude, not too bad. And then, Yeah, that's about it, man. All right, you ready to jump into it, man?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. Well, we're jumping into a year-end review essentially. I was taking a couple of notes and I thought maybe they might help. Maybe I could ask you. But so I'm just gonna start off and ask you. So my first question for you personally, this could be as a coach, as a business owner, as Shane, right? Like, what has this year taught you?
So this year was most taught me, man, like it's taught me a lot. I feel like I had to dig really deep this year in a lot of professional ways. I learned that judgment holds us back more than like actual fear does. Like I've always thought that like me being afraid of something, I can work on getting over it and have the courage or like be brave enough to move beyond that fear. But judgment, man, like the fear of judgment, I think is something that takes a lot more work. And that was something that I learned this year, is that once you move beyond the fear of judgment, then like really nothing else can hold you back, at least in my mind, right? Like I was afraid of being judged for starting the coaching company. I was afraid of being judged for being more outspoken. I was afraid of being judged for not knowing like what I'm doing, right? Like just jumping into this, I had a lot of doubts and a lot of like negative thoughts, like wondering, okay, am I ready? Am I good enough? Like, are people going to listen to me? Like, do I actually bring any value to people's lives? And then it was like this double. I was being pulled in two different directions, right? So what I learned about is that I can withstand a lot. Like I have a lot of resilience, but it took a toll on me in ways that I didn't realize until I became super self-conscious. So like I'm already self-conscious about a lot of stuff. Like I always reflect pretty deeply about things in general. I think that was the one thing I learned about the most is about myself, is just how deep I can actually take some like self-criticisms and stuff like that. I was reflecting too deeply over the summer where I became so self-aware that I became paralyzed. I just got thought paralysis, like whatever it's called. And I felt like I couldn't make a decision. I couldn't even choose a word. Like I couldn't reach in my vocabulary to think of like the right word to describe myself. My emotions went completely numb. There was this like identity crisis that I was beginning to have. And it was really shaking my confidence because I thought that I was mentally regressing. Like I thought I was getting dumber and I was getting upset and I was making it worse for myself. And I had some conversations with Allison where I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm freaking out and I feel like my brain is not functioning the way it used to. My recall was terrible. I just, for some reason, like I could remember certain things, but not remember a lot. And I had to really dig and like, thankfully, I take good enough notes to kind of remember things. But at work, I was just struggling. And I learned that I was going into survival mode. And this is where like I was finally hitting a tipping point where I was about to give up and be like, okay, I'm starting this business to help like create an escape route for myself, but I'm not making any money off of it. I can't right now because I don't have any clients. I don't have anything to earn that income. I'm starting from scratch, right? Like you are. And there was nothing there to save me, but I had to figure out a way to get out of this endless bullshit cycle that I was going through. And then I went into this survival mindset of trying to protect my emotions because I was just constantly frustrated, constantly angry, constantly depressed, like going into work, dude. I was just so frustrated and nothing was changing. And I knew nothing was changing. And it just had a lot of things that were going against me. And I just didn't care. And then I kind of started giving up of like, okay, well, at least I have this job. It's paying me like decent money where I can do whatever I want to do, really. But I'm sacrificing everything about myself to put up with this job. Like I don't feel like myself anymore. And then it sucked that it was just a toxic environment where I had to constantly watch my back and like play into the game, the bullshit game that was going on. So I was just getting like really emotionally desperate to get out of there. And every denial I got from a job opportunity was just more of like a setback of like, fuck, when's the next opportunity to come? Like, why am I screwing this up so bad? Like there were interviews I knew immediately that I just messed up. Like I knew I was not going to proceed to the next level. There were some that I proceeded so far where I was like, okay, I feel like I have a strong chance, or it seemed like a good fit. No, didn't work out. And so and part of me was like wondering if it was me, like my appearance. Like I had long hair that's down my shoulders and I was keeping it up. Like it wasn't like it was ragged or anything, but that became an issue in my head. And anyway, the timing of transitioning from Rise to We was perfect. Like And that's when everything clicked, right? When you're going through the fog, like the fog of war, essentially, let's call it that for now. Like every day is a battle. When you're battling your emotions, your thoughts, like trying to get through those difficult times, like it's a fog of war. You don't know where you're going to go next. You don't know when the fog is going to be lifted. And I was deep. There was a dense fog for me at that time in the summer and fall, especially when I'm constantly beating myself up for not having a good recall anymore. So yeah, what I learned is like I can be highly resilient in those situations. I never want to do those things again. Like I don't want to put myself in that position again. And I don't know, maybe that position that time might come again unintentionally. So I'll know what to do next time. But it was a struggle, man. Like this summer was just terrible as far as that goes. And then I think I also learned, this was like more of a reflective thing too. I also learned that I need to be bored. So that was this year was one of those things where I need to sit in boredom for a little bit longer. I tend to, when I get bored, I tend to like try to mix things up and not in a bad way. I'm not trying to like create drama or anything, but I end up causing more frustration upon myself by like jumping from one objective to the next and not fully completing that, like not like giving up on the goal or anything. I just give up on that goal because I'm bored from it. And then I move on to something else. And I have all these incomplete tasks. And so I need to sit in the boredom and like do the mundane things. And that's something I never realized. I never like thought about that, of how long you have to sit with the mundane and like the boring tasks to actually like get something out of, to learn something new, I guess. I always thought that like it was always a spark. Like I had to have these sparks of joy, let's say that, like sparks of joy or aha moments for me to learn something. But really it's just sitting in the mundane and routine to like fulfill it, to fulfill the goal. So that was like, this year wasn't bad as far as like drama, which is great. Like I learned a lot in 2024 fully. So 2025 wasn't bad. But it was like professionally, like I started making that mental shift of like, okay, I want to start my own business, coaching business, because it's again 10-year goal for me. Like by 10 years I want to be full-time, because I know that it's an investment. Every year is an investment. Every day is an investment. I'm hoping that throughout between now and the 10-year mark, like I'll meet the right people and get the right clients and start kind of building off of it like that. And then I needed the escape to get out of the current position I was in. And I knew that like tech would be a good like foot in to reestablish like who I am. I wanted to bring my personality back. And I felt like tech would be a fun one to like create some diversity within like to give myself in this moment of like being the wild child, I guess, in that arena, you know, because I'm showing up in cowboy boots and Wranglers, and everybody's kind of looking at me like, who the hell are you? But it's fun. You know, it's reawakening me again. It's making me feel like myself again. My recall's better. I'm definitely still like being hyper conscious about certain things, which I need to kind of figure out how to chill out.
Right.
Like my vocabulary isn't completely back yet, but I think it dawned on me the other day. I was like, oh, I've stopped reading for a while. So maybe it's because I haven't been reading as much as I used to. So maybe that's why my vocabulary's lacking a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. It was definitely like that. That was kind of the pinnacle this year, was just the emotional withdrawal and going into survival mode, and then freaking out that I didn't know like what the fuck was going on with myself. I thought that I was losing my mind, and there weren't dark days as far as like depression, anxiety, but there were dark days of like, am I stuck here? Like, is this my freaking future? Like if my coaching thing doesn't, like if that's a 10-year goal, sure. But like, if it doesn't take off in 10 years, am I fucked? Like I went into that rabbit hole of what's next. Am I no longer getting opportunities? Cause I went to the mindset of like, well, I should be grateful for what I have. I am grateful for what I have. I'm feel blessed that we live in a country that, you know, we're protected with so many freedoms. And I kind of went into that justification of like, yeah, you know, you deserve to be here. You deserve to be stuck and miserable because there are people that are in worse places that are more miserable than you, right? I started comparing myself in that aspect. I wanted to justify things in my head of like, yeah, you're fine. Like, be okay with this. And I couldn't be okay with it. Like everything within me was like, this isn't okay at all. This isn't right. So yeah, I'm glad that we worked out the way it did, and we'll see what happens the next 6 months, or a year, you know, 6 months to a year. Would love to stay within the company and keep working on the coaching stuff. I've been telling people I work with that I do coaching too. And I told them that's like kind of the goal too, like 10-year goal is to be like a life coach. And it's gained some interest. Like it's kind of created an identity for me at Weave. And so like people are kind of more interested of like, so like, what kind of coaching do you do? Oh, I do life coaching. And now I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I change from life coaching? Like, oh, I do performance coaching, or I do, I got to start kind of adding in some other details instead of just saying life. Cause like everybody thinks of life coaching as such a broad concept of, oh, what kind of life coaching do you cover? So it's cool to kind of see the interest that some of them have. With my personal goal working with them, like as when I started the company, it was like, okay, how can I be a mentor to some of these people? Right. And like, how do I get clients here for the future?
Right.
That's a different task. I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing still. Phones and scheduling. So
I definitely understand.
Yeah, I think that's my year in a nutshell, because this year wasn't bad. It was fun. We did a lot of cool things. I think that's what I learned the most, was just how resilient I can be and like the emotional survival that needed to happen. I never want to experience that again, but yeah.
I get that. At least you can make it through it.
At least I know that, and that's great. And like I thought about that too. It's like, oh yeah, you can make it through it. Like, well, shit. Like, how do I get myself to not go through this again? How do I set up myself for how to prepare myself better next time? Like I don't want to ever experience that. And so my other realization was, all right, well, having 6 months savings is so important, because I would love just to have enough, like 6 months to say that, have enough like saved up where I could just quit on the spot. As soon as I know it's going downhill, just be like, all right, I'm done. My 2 weeks, I want to walk out of here, and my savings would be my parachute, like it would hold me over for 6 months at least. And that gives me time to chill out, reset, and then go on the attack for a new job. It was very difficult to find a new job though. But I think that was the one thing I learned, is like, okay, how do I set myself up for success in the future? So if I ever experience something like this again, I'm not doing it for more than 6 months. I'm not going to be emotionally withdrawn or like just frustrated for 6+ months. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'd say that was it. If you asked me this question last year, you'd be like, "What did you learn from 2024?" I'd be like, "Dude, I learned so much in 2024. Like I was something else, and I turned myself into somebody else in a matter of months, because it mattered. Like it needed to happen,
Right.
Like that was, I think 2023 and 2024, two most like life-changing years, and then this year is the most foundational year for me, I think. Like, and you've known me long enough, like stuff that in the past, like I was a wild child and did some dumb things. Let's say dumb, fun but dumb. And
you were living your best life, bro.
Yeah, I was. I don't have any regrets about that. But I was doing a lot of dumb stuff that affected other people. I didn't realize would affect other people. And in 2023, 2024, like changes needed to happen. I made some drastic changes to help solidify some things, like really kind of just prove to people that I was not going to be consistently exhibiting the same behaviors and whatever. And then this year was the foundational year, I think. Like this year was just a good foundational year. But again, sitting in the boredom and getting used to that and completing the tasks. So yeah, that was a mouthful, but yeah, that was pretty much.
That's what we're here for, man. I like it.
All my thoughts are being just spilled out.
That's what we're here for. That's what you're supposed to do. Don't hold back.
Oh no, I know. I don't know why. I always feel guilty for talking too much. It's one of those things where I just like to keep it short and succinct, but then I start rambling too much.
Hell no, man. People love to see your face.
Seeing my face is one thing, but hey, seeing my face is one thing, but saying too much is another.
I love talking to you, man.
All right. So yeah, that's what I learned this year. What about you, man? What have you learned? What when you reflect back on 2025? I always have to think of seasons too. I always think of like, okay, what happened in spring, summer, fall, winter? Like what did I do in each one of those seasons? How do you look back at the year and what do you learn?
I don't know, man. Like as far as like, I think I've learned more about patience, just because I knew when I started my business, it wasn't going to happen right away, right? Like it's not going to take off and just blow up overnight. It takes time. Even though I told myself that, like I found myself at times being like, come on, like, why am I not getting more clients? Why are people not reaching out? Why? What is this? What is that? Right. And when I would get in those moments, I would have to take a step back and just be like, chill. Like your business has been up for 2 months, you know, like where do you expect it to be? Nobody knows you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I still struggle with it. Like I was talking to one of my clients this weekend, and no, not one of my clients. I was talking to somebody, and I was just telling them that I have two clients and whatnot. And, you know, we're about, I would say that I started this in August. That's when I had my first camp and whatnot. So August, September, October, November, December. So we're only 4 months in. And I found myself doing it again. I was just like, I have two clients, and when I'm telling them this, I'm excited about having two clients, but I find myself like, what do I have to do to get more? Right? Like, I know I could be better on social media, but it's exhausting. Like this week, I posted one teaser for our podcast, and then I posted like our podcast. I didn't
Yeah.
post anything else, right? Because like I wanted to be with my family. I didn't want to post on social media or anything like that. And so it's like I know things could help me better and possibly get me more. And so it's like, take a step back. You're 4 months in, relax. The fact that I have two stable clients every single week that aren't going anywhere, like that's awesome for only being 4 months in my opinion, right? Like I have two clients, you know, granted they're both like fitness clients. So it's more on that, you know, fitness side. And I try to talk to them in a way where like sometimes we'll talk about mentality and stuff like that. But I just found myself and like have been teaching myself throughout this year to try to be a little bit more patient and give myself grace. Like you've heard me talk about grace quite a bit because for one, you know, a lot of people would try what we've tried and they would quit because of how hard it is. I haven't quit. I'm still going and I'm learning. You know, I don't have a booklet here in front of me that tells me how to run a coaching business.
Yeah.
I just have myself. Like I thought saving all of my receipts in my email was good enough. It's not. It's not. And so now I've been slowly working on creating a spreadsheet for this past year. And like for the most part, I have it created. Now it's just a matter of going and taking a screenshot of every single receipt and adding it to my spreadsheet, right? For taxes. And so I'm trying to learn that. Like I know Excel, but like what's the best way to do this? What would make the most sense? What makes it the easiest to understand to be able to maintain this, you know, year in, year out? And so I feel like I'm pushing myself that way. You know, I don't think I've given myself credit for the amount of resilience that I've had in my life. And this year, I think I learned to finally give myself credit for that resilience, you know, such as my business. You know, it's not growing as fast as I thought it would, but I'm being resilient. I'm still going. It's not like I'm quitting. I'm still going. And I'm not giving up on myself, right? Like I'm continuing to better myself. I mean, just by doing this with you, we're teaching and learning from each other, right? That's bettering myself. I'm doing therapy. And then I think one of the biggest things is just self-reflection, man. Like I think I do more self-reflection than I do everything else. I could honestly say I probably reflect on things like almost daily. Like I'll just think things through, like, you know, why did I do this? What were my emotions when I felt when I did this? You know, would I change this in the future? Am I okay with where it's at? You know, like, do I want to be that person or whatever, you know? And so I think in this past year, I've become more comfortable with myself. I had a lot of self-doubt, and I think there were things this year that happened for the first time, you know, like when I was coaching flag football, I had a couple of parents like complain about my coaching. And when I first saw them, dude, like it broke me, dude. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I love every kid. I want to do the best I can for all these kids. Like, how could I get a negative review? And then I had to take a step back because, you know, I did talk to other parents about it, you know, because it was like, hey, you guys, I've had this happen. If you guys are feeling a type of way, come talk to me. I don't want you guys to feel like you can't talk to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm an open book. We'll talk about whatever. If you think I'm doing something wrong, tell me. I want to know. I can't improve if you don't tell me. And you know, just the feedback that I really got from my parents, and then after the season ended, just like what some of the parents had reached out and said to me about their kid, and and how they're more confident, or they found a love for the sport, or they loved my coaching style. They had so much fun, right? Like when you hear that, it's just like, all right, time out, Brett. Are you those 2 reviews, or are you these 18, right? And it's
Yeah.
like we tend to focus on those negative ones more. And it's like, nah, put those to the side. Like they are a good learning experience. Okay, I'm going to read them. I'm going to see, okay, what can I change from that? And if there isn't anything I can change from that, how do I acknowledge this with the parents or with the league coordinator or whatever, to let them know, like, hey, like I was put in this position. I'm not trained for this. What do you want me to do? Or, hey, parents, if you're having an issue with playing time or this or that, like come talk to me, and so I think I've just learned to try to focus more on that majority side, right?
Yeah.
Because I'll tend to look at the negative and be like, I'm terrible. I shouldn't be a coach. Like, why do I have a coaching business? I got people saying these negative things about me, and it just really makes me question myself. And I already question myself. You know what I mean? Like we're being open book, so I'll be an open book too. But like my whole life, I feel like I have, in a sense, been a letdown and not really excelled and I think part of the reason that I feel that way is most of the people I surround myself with are like really successful. Whether it be with their job or with being a scholar, and it's just like, where did I mess up? I feel like I work hard, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I give it my all. And I was like, where did I mess up? Like why can't I reach this peak that everybody else has reached? How come I'm still climbing and I'm older, or I'm the same age, right? And it's just reflecting, and like not everybody has the same path. Like hopefully it comes for me one day, but how can I be okay where I'm at? And I don't mean okay where I'm at as far as staying here, but like how can I develop being comfortable here, knowing that I'm still going to work hard, I'm still going to push forward, and hopefully that piece is coming to me. And can I recognize the things that are really good right now? Like my kids, they have a stable home. They have 2 excellent parents, like my daughter gets to play basketball year round. My other daughter gets to tumble year round and play basketball and play soccer. And Nikki plays football, and we're at every single game. We're at every single practice, and I think this year really taught me to like really just dive into that part, really focus on that, because, a lot of what I'm speaking of is financially. I want to make more. I want to provide more,
I feel the same way. Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know what? If I can't do that, how can we make this life as good as possible with where we're at, right? And I think those are the things, because that's where I find the enjoyment, right? I really enjoy being their coach. I really enjoy being at their games. I really enjoy having time with them. So I think this year was just a lot of self-reflection and just having time to look into myself and in therapy and be like, hey, you're being too hard on yourself. Like my job, for instance. I mean, I told you about this. I think I told you, but my boss came in and, said he wanted to make me a full-time PM. And my reply back to him is like, are you sure about that? Legitimately, Shane, that shit came out of my mouth. Are you sure about that? And it's like,
yeah.
It's because I'm harder on myself, right? And so it was like I had to take a step back and be like, hey, I don't know this field. I know how to project manage, but I don't know this area of work that I've gone into, and I've done the best that I can. And obviously, he thinks the best that I've done is good enough to continue moving forward and move me up, right? And so it's like, Brett, take a step back. Like, stop thinking that you need to be the best when you've done it for a year, and every other project manager at this job has been in this role for 15 plus years. Relax, give yourself some grace and just reflect. And so I think that's a huge thing for me, man. I would like to say, like we talk about the hardships, but it's crazy to think that I started my own business. I never thought I would be a business owner, but I found this thing that I truly love doing. I want to help people. Right now, it's more on the physical side, but I want to, I want to life coach along with, physical training. And
Yeah.
so I need to give myself more credit, because it's like, dude, you started this and you've made differences in people's lives already. No matter how small or how big it may have been, you've had parents say, my kid is more confident because of you. My kid, reacts to hardships better because of you. And it's like, you know what? You're right. I love this. And so I'm proud of myself that I did that and I haven't given up, and that I'm still pushing through. Like, I'm already looking in the spring,
Yeah.
like, all right, when can we start camps? When can we do this? And yeah, so I think 2025 was a lot of self-reflection and just trying to lean more into the positive and be more patient. And I think I've improved in all three of those areas. I think it's been for the better. I feel good going into 2026. There's still some little bit of self-doubt, but I'm ready to jump into 2026 and hopefully just continue pushing forward, man. Continue, pushing, elevate, and being and setting a bar for being a dad. I don't care what anybody says. The dads are going to argue with me that they're better than me. No, you're not. No, you're not. I'm the best. But every father should feel that way too.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if they're not being supportive of that, then they're doing something wrong. Like, everybody should be supportive of. Yeah, exactly. You nailed it there.
And I've been.
Sorry, my bad. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good, man. Go ahead. That was it, honestly. So.
Oh, you're good. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to like kind of share some things like as you're reflecting back, because this is what I do too when I reflect back, as I compare myself to decisions that I've made in the past and where I'm at now. And you kind of start beating yourself up a lot. And like I'll beat myself up of, why didn't I stay in school, or why did I choose psychology as the degree to study? Like, why didn't I just do business? Why didn't I change my degree? I didn't pay attention enough in college to realize that psychology wasn't a great fit. And that's like the stuff I'm kind of beating myself up on. Psychology was a great fit. Like, I love psychology. That was what I was really passionate about at the time. However, I should have changed it into a minor. It's like, hindsight's 2020, right? So when you're looking back, you're like, I should have made these decisions. So I reflected back and I was like, damn, I should have really paid more attention to like where I was going with my career, or like where I could have been a better fit for. It's like, if I could go back now, I would go back and I would change my major to a minor. So I do a minor psychology rather than a major, but I would major in business and do like marketing, because marketing's a hot job everywhere. You can get a marketing degree and then go anywhere and kill it, right? You can make a lot of money in marketing.
Yeah.
Psychology is a benefit of being able to like fall back on and say, okay, I can read people. Like, marketing and psychology go hand in hand, because you have to understand people and market to people. So then I start like to think about the decisions that I made and the places I've been. And then I'll beat myself up on, I missed this opportunity here. I missed this, like when I came back to Utah, for instance. I've been really reflecting back on this decision. It's still let me try to figure out how to tell the story real quick in my head. Going back from Seattle, applied to a bunch of different jobs. I found a leadership company called Blue EQ, and they weren't looking for anybody in particular. I don't think there was a job opening that I can recall, but I ended up finding an account executive. He was a senior account executive or a manager. I found his contact and I emailed him and just gave him a very brief email about how I'm very passionate about leadership. I believe the company is onto something amazing because it's talking about emotional intelligence and leadership. And I was like, I love that. I want to be a part of this. I want to do this and that. And like, I really sold myself to this company. And the guy called, he returned my email. He wanted to do an interview and set me up with his boss, who was like the director of operations or whatever. Had a great interview with them. They offered me a position to be an account executive, right then and there. They're like, okay, this is what you need to do. We want to put you in as an account executive and then move you up into like a strategic account executive or something else, like another position after a year. They're like, we know that you millennials, I remember this distinctly because I was like, I'm patient. They're like, we know you millennials are impatient and that a year sounds like a long time, but we promise you it's going to go really quickly. And I was like, yeah, bullshit. No, that's dumb. And I walked away from the position because it was sales, right? It was primarily sales, and I hated sales at the time. And I mean, I was like pretending to be allergic to sales. Every time I heard of it, I wanted to run away and then not even pretend, like, it just not, it didn't exist in my life. I wanted to avoid those opportunities like the plague. And when they offered me that opportunity, I was like, no, that's not what I want. That's not what I was expecting. They were incredibly bummed out when I rejected their proposal. Looking back at it now, I feel so stupid. I'm like, damn, dude, like that was a cool opportunity that you should have walked into. You should have thought more about your fear and at least kind of stepped forward more into the unknown of what could this opportunity give me? And the reason being is because the account executive experience that I would have gained, the strategic experience I would have gained, like all of these different unique experiences I could have gained working for that position would have elevated me to be in a better position now. At 25 or 26, whenever I came back, 25, 26, when I came back from Seattle, I don't know. I just wasn't in that headspace yet to be a salesman. And I thought it was just toxic. And I just had a really bad taste. And so I was like, this is stupid. And then looking back at it now, I was like, damn, that was a really cool opportunity I should have taken on. And it would have set me up for success. I feel like I would be way better off now if I had taken that position. Right. And again, I can't like sit and feed that memory. I can't sit there and think what could have been, right? We can think about what could have been every once in a while, but we shouldn't let that rule our thoughts or our feelings the majority of the time. And I tend to do that. That's one of my faults. But I have to think back, and this is kind of what I wanted to tell you is like, one, you can compare yourself and be like, damn, I should have done better. What more could I have done? What decisions could I have made? But then I think like between then and now, I've lived a really cool life. I feel like I've been living a cool life. I still am, but it's just not like, again, financially comparisons, it's not where I want to be yet. But all the experiences that I've gained from, I'd say even before that, after college until now, they've been very unique experiences that only I have been subject to. And you have very unique experiences as well, that the majority of the population does not privy. They don't have that privilege, or they've never had there's several different things that go into play. It's like your life situation where you're born into, your choices, and just happenstance, right? So like you take those three things and you have a unique life experience. There's a lot of people who just do they just go with the safe choices, right? They just play it safe. I'd say like from your experiences, you never played it safe. You just kind of went with your gut. You went with what was in front of you. You made some bad decisions, sure, but I wouldn't beat myself up over it. And I'm working on that too. Like you're giving yourself grace. I'm trying to give myself more grace as well. It's incredibly hard, but you have been exposed to a lot of unique situations, which then makes you a good coach, because great coaches need to be exposed to those unique situations. There are coaches who are great technical coaches because they read the books and they understand that A plus B equals C. But there's other coaches who lived through the experiences that can say, A and B plus equals C, but there's more to it than that. Like I have more in-depth experience as to what C really means, because there's like A plus B equals C, you get to C and expectations aren't being met, right? Like you got clients that are like, well, this coach told me that if I do this and I do that, I should be feeling this way, or I should be experiencing this thing. And we can go back and say, no, that's not how life works. Like you got your C. I'm glad you got to C here, but how are you going to maintain that? Or maybe the expectation isn't being met because there was something else that got in the way, or like the emotional value, right? There's something else that's there that's preventing them from experiencing the full value of their outcome. Whereas we know, like, it's not about the outcome. It's like, it's what did you experience between A and B? What did you develop between A and B? I'm glad you got to C, and that, just because you cut, maybe I can cut corners. I shouldn't say that. Maybe they did everything right and they just got to the outcome. That's where you're at, dude. Like you're not cutting the corners. You're getting to a certain outcome, and you will get to that, say, financial status that you're looking for, whatever that financial status is. Because I'm telling myself the same thing. I will get to that financial status too. I think everything that we have experienced up until this point was necessary for us to then carry on our backs to what's going on next. And that's where I feel like there's a lot of opportunities in at Weave where I'm going to stand out like a sore thumb because of who I am and what I look like, because I'm not going in as a traditional techie in this environment. And it's kind of cool because of that. I can stand out and I can help people, and I can even understand people. Like there was a girl I met that I work with. She lived a tough life up until this point that I met her. She seems to be doing really good for herself now. She's got a lot in front of her still, a lot of opportunities that are potentially going to come. And she had to grow up quick. And so it's cool that I can like talk to her and she feels like I can relate to her because of how her hardships were, whereas other people who didn't have hardships aren't going to be able to relate to. And those are the kind of people you want to work with, or at least that's the kind of clients that I want to work with. It's like, I want to be real. And then I want to spark curiousness for those who haven't experienced hardships like they have, or like we
Right.
have. I want them to be curious,
Yep.
like, oh, how'd you get through that? Maybe develop that like preparedness, I guess, in their mind of, okay, if I were to go through this sort of similar situation, how would I react to it? Because
Right.
you can explain how you handled certain situations, and it may be different for the next person. But at least you can mentally prepare them of like what to look for.
And
So yeah, I totally get the comparisons and like where you want to be at and where you should be at, where you think you should be at. And man, I think keep with the grace, because I'm giving myself as much grace as possible. And again, everything happens for a reason. I'm going to hold on to that as well. Everything that we experience and go through does happen for a reason. You will meet the right people at the right time, and they will help tell you to that next level. And I think honestly, in my heart, that's why I think this year was such a great foundational year. When I look back at it, you got to have a foundation to stand on before you start moving, right? You can't elevate yourself.
Yeah.
You can't move if you don't have solid ground. If you're consistently rocky, then and you lose your footing, man, you just stumble back down. And nobody wants to work with somebody who's on basically wishy-washy ground or anything like that, right? They want consistency. They want to be able to trust you and rely on you. And that's what we're building right now. As much as that sucks, like, there are people out there who might seem like they're being more successful. And that was the other thing I was going to say. You're a great dad. You're so successful in what you do as a dad, and you are being successful in your current position.
Thanks.
And you are like, you acknowledge yourself just barely as well. Like, I'm glad you did. I just want to kind of double down on that for you. But I think the success is its comparison to right now. There's moments, and I'm being more observant than I probably should be. Maybe I care too much about looking at other people and like how they are in their life, because my natural curiosity in me is like, okay, how are they doing, and what's like life going to look like for them in the next 5 years? People might seem like successful and happy right now, but then you give another year and they're not. Because I ran into so many people these last 2 to 3 years, just who on the outside, yeah, really well, put together. But then you start finding out like it's one part of them. There's one part of them that is successful, whatever that one part is. Right? And that's great. I'm glad they have that one part that's successful. But then there's so many other things that aren't going well in their life at all that maybe they wish they were successful at. So financial stability is, of course, and I'm going to stick on this topic now. Like financial stability is, of course, important. Right? That's important to everybody. Everybody wants financial stability. That's what we look at. That's status, too, what you're able to do. But if you have rocky relationships with yourself or with other people, like, there are other things that they're not successful at that you might find more valuable than they do, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you got to look at the whole picture and notice like, okay, I'm actually doing really good in this area over here.
And I agree with you, because like I'm not where I want to be financially, but dude, as far as a parent, like, dude, I know I'm doing well as a parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I am proud of me as a parent, and I'm also proud of like the fact, because you're touching on all this, of like the fact that people get the real me. I'm not fake with you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to put on this mask to go in public. Like, what you see is what you get, and I'm authentic, right? And doing this whole coaching thing, I wanted to stay authentic through the process. And so there's been some ups and downs in 2025 with this, because there's been times where I'm like, I need to hold myself this way, because if I'm a coach and a business owner, this is what people want to see. And it's like, well, time out.
Yeah.
Did people tell you this, or are you saying that people want this? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, wait, hold on. Like, let me take a step back. Like, I'm just going to be me. And so I definitely agree with you. And when you break it down that way, it makes more sense, because at least for me and maybe other people, when you tend to, I think financial is big for everybody, right? When you tend to look at just financial and sort of cancel everything out, you don't feel like you're succeeding. And so if you break it down into, you have financial, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this, right? Like, am I successful in all, or I don't want to say successful, because successful is different for everybody, but okay, I'm not where I want to be financially. Am I where I want to be as a father? Yes. Am I where I want to be as a coach? Yes. Am I where I want to be as a human being, right? Am I doing well in these other categories? If I am, then like financials will get there. Like, dude, you're doing okay. And I like
Yeah.
the way that you broke that down because I think it could really help other people that sort of were doing the same thing that I was doing, right? Like you hyper focus on this one thing and you don't give enough credit to the rest of the pieces. And all these pieces make your life, not that one single piece. So, okay, so what that you're not there with one piece? Like the rest of your pieces have fell into place and you're where you're supposed to be and you do have a good life. You know what I mean? And I think, see, reflecting, man, because like honestly, my kids could be where I was when I was a kid, man, and that wouldn't be good. And so, you know what? You just helped me reflect a little bit. See, this is why you should be a life coach, man. This is why you're doing what you're doing. You just helped me, in a sense, reflect a little bit more in a different way. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I'm sort of speechless at the moment because I'm just thinking.
You're good. Think away, man. It's like, before you start the new year, and I don't know if you've made goals yet. I know you're not. I'm not saying that we should be New Year's resolutionists.
Oh, you resolutioner.
I do have some goals though. Like I'm not holding myself to like a resolutionist standard per se, but I do have some like thoughts in mind of okay for 2026. Now that we've kind of, I'm gonna say we because you've built your foundation, you've gotten some your feet under you. I'm gonna do the same thing for me. Like the next thing is outreach, getting more involved, like seeing how much time needs to be committed to being active in other groups and looking up other groups to be active with. Like, do we need to go and I think it'd be cool at some point. Maybe this is a 2027 goal, but we go to like a podcast show. We get a ticket and go to like be attendees at a podcast convention.
I'm down.
Yeah, I think like 2027 would be probably more ideal, but let's
Honestly,
look at. I'm just thinking of the expense right now off the top of my head, and that's why I'm kind of like hesitant about 2026. But if we find a show in 2026 that'd be good to go to in 2027, expensive but worth it, then I'd definitely be game to go and like network that way. So yeah, outreach is like going to be a more of a factor for me, and getting back on my social media game because I have not been as active on social media because I just been, I don't know if that's like burnout's the right way to say it, but I just had not wanted like the motivation to be on social media hasn't been it. Being more authentic, like on TikTok is another thing too, where I want to not worry about how I'm feeling or what I'm saying and just like put a video up at least once a week.
right.
But grace, I had to write that down right now and like give myself more grace in 2026 because I forget about that. Like I don't remind myself enough to give myself grace. But yeah, reflection it's incredibly vital, and I think we'll have to do a follow-up in July and say, okay, where are we at now, and do like a status check, or we can do it like in
I'm
March
down,
too, like
dude.
do once a quarter, but July would be ideal 6 months from now and say, okay, where are we at, like what needs to happen, because then we'll be holding ourselves accountable at that point. So I'll write that down. July check-in.
All right. Now that you brought this up, I'm thinking like, what goals do I have? So I think my first goal is to finish the life coaching certification.
Yeah, where are you
to
getting
help
that
me
done at?
build ISSA probably, unless I
Oh,
find
okay.
someone that's better. But I think it will just help me have a little bit more knowledge and just some different viewpoints, right? I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, I think I could be a great life coach as is, but I really do think I could do pretty well as a life coach if somebody wanted to come meet with me just based on lived experience, right? Like a lot of what I do and how I coach is off of lived experience. And so, mixed with some research and stuff. But I think that would be one for me that I really want to complete, and I would want to do that probably before June.
Yeah, look into the different coaching certifications because there are some
I
that are more
will.
intense than others. Like you have to have a certain amount of hours before you get your certification, stuff like that. Like I did mine through John Maxwell, and it was good. I don't know what else to compare it to, but I think it was good. So if you want to look into John Maxwell, it's a lifetime membership with them as well. Oh, how much was it? It's expensive. It's like, if I remember correctly, it was like $3,000, might have been more. Like most, like the other life coach, like I think it's the ISSA or I'm blanking on the other one. There's some out there that's like 10 grand for some freaking certifications, which is absurd. But they're more in depth and they take way longer to complete. So yeah, just do some research on which ones you can chat GPT it too. Just like, hey, chat GPT, which ones do you recommend? Because I did that
dude,
once.
I've done that like multiple
Yeah.
times just for like different
Yeah.
coaching because I want to do life
Yeah.
coaching, but like one of my biggest parts of my youth coaching, I want to have his football training because I just have the knowledge for it. So it's like, all right, what coaching could I get to help build that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I've dove in and been like, hey, what should we try to accomplish in 2026? Like break it down. I don't want to get burnt out, but like what could we do? And so right now, for me, it's life coaching certification before June, more presence on social media, just because there was a point in time where I was like posting stuff about mentality. It wasn't me talking to you, but it was like a quote or something, right? And I sort of got away from that. And I want to get back to posting those because I just want people like to be, you know how it is. Sometimes we scroll through and we see a quote and it just hits you and you're like, you know what? Yeah, that's right. Like, I like that quote. You know what I mean? So I want to implement more of that into my business and what I'm doing because, you know, a big thing of part of my business is mindset, you know, and but I'm really struggling with a third goal. I'm trying to think of a third goal and I want it to be like more focused on myself, right? Because life coaching certification is building knowledge for me, but it's for my business. Social media presence is for my business and other people. So like this is where I struggle. I really struggle with making goals for myself, like how to improve bread. Or my third goal is this. I want to practice speaking to myself the way that I would coach my athletes or my kids because like we talked, I have a lot of self-doubt and I tend to be hard on myself. So if I try to coach myself as I would coach my people, like I think that might help get me to a spot where I'm more comfortable because I'm going to continue therapy. I'm going to continue working on just like my parts and all that kind of stuff. So I think if I can practice reflecting and coaching myself in a sense, I think that's a good one. You good over there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's wrong? What'd you do?
It's just me being me. Like I went to write something down and my cord that's plugged into my microphone on the laptop, my arm sat on top of it and I just yanked out the power cord of the microphone. And yeah, now it apparently just messed everything up.
Bro, get it together over there, Shane.
I know I'm trying. Apparently it affects my Wi-Fi. I don't understand how it's affecting my Wi-Fi. Like it's a freaking microphone connected straight to the computer. It shouldn't affect the internet. And it's starting to lag. Oh my gosh. It's doing so good.
Please excuse him, everybody. But
Still lagging.
so like, am I coming through like spotty to you?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, but there we go. Now it's caught up for now. It's frustrating. Well, the goal though, I sort of heard what you were saying, bits and pieces.
It's just essentially coach myself the way I would coach my clients or my kids.
Yeah, I was thinking too for you, like taking some time for yourself. Take a step aside from coaching and just making sure you're taking time for yourself.
You know what? I'm writing this
whether
down,
that
Shane, because I like that.
just like if that's video games or reading a book or like just going somewhere by yourself for a few hours, like that's my goal this year too. So mine was like, yeah, more outreach, more collaboration, being more involved on social media is definitely another one. But then going on like solo trips, that's something I miss doing. I haven't done that in a long time. And it's definitely helped me like reconnect with myself and just kind of flush out a lot of the bullshit you deal with throughout the year and just being
Right.
in stillness. Like it's what people like ask me, like, what's your favorite thing? Like, what do you love to do? And I'm like, I love being in, like isolated. Like, I like being secluded and away from other things and just being in nature and stillness and quietness, you know?
And I definitely get that. And I think there is a huge point to that because this past year I golfed twice. And that's usually my thing to like get out for, about 4 hours. You don't have to worry about anything else. And I didn't do it. Everything since May has been about coaching, about building my business, about like not coaching my business, but coaching my kids. And so I actually really like that, and like take a step back, make that time for yourself. Don't because I'm one of those, dude. I ain't got time to do that. I gotta fit this client in. I gotta sit down at my computer. I gotta do some research. I gotta whatever. Nah, put that shit on pause and take a break for yourself. I like that. I wrote it down. I got them written down. So when we want to review it, it's like, hi, Shane, I got them right here. No, I think,
Yeah.
honestly, man, I think that's good. We went over our goals. We
Yeah.
talked about 2025 as a whole for the both of us. Do you have anything you want to add before we go?
Yeah, to whoever's listening still, when you go into 2026, go into 2026 without expectations. Just go into it knowing what you want to, like, what the goal you have in mind, if any. If you don't have any, that's great. Don't feel like you're obligated to have any goals in mind, but just don't go with any expectations. That's the word I'm trying to look for right now. Go with the flow of things, essentially. Try to be a sponge and react appropriately, but don't be reactive. I think that's something that a lot of people maybe this is one of those moments for those, if you're that kind of person where you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. That's fine. Just go into it being a sponge, be reactive, appropriately reactive, and don't have expectations. And then if you are a hard charger kind of person, you need goals, you need to have that. I call it the carrot. If you need that carrot in front of you dangling there, great. Same rule applies. Don't have expectations. Just go in there, get whatever you can done, do the best you can, and keep listening to Brett and I, because we have great advice to offer. And who knows, throughout the year, there might be a touch point that actually hits, because I'm sure we're going to be naturally bringing up what we're going through again, later on in 2026, and it'll hit the hammer, hit the nail on the head. Yeah, that's the only advice I could think of right now to kind of cap it off with, is just no expectations, go with the flow, be reactive, and just enjoy your life,
Yeah, no, I like it, man. I think you said it great. For me, I
Thanks.
think going into 2026, just go for it, man. Don't you hear me talking about my self-doubt? And I know a lot of you have self-doubt, but go for it. I trusted myself. I went for it this year, and I'm happy that I did. And I think you will be too.
Mhm.
Don't sit around. Don't wait for the right moment. There is not a right moment. Go for it. You deserve to go for it. You deserve to make it to any of those goals that you have. So don't put it off till the next week and then in the next week, look at it and be like, hey, I really want this, and tell yourself, like, I deserve to have this. How do I make this happen? And just go for it. I mean, I don't really have anything else. I don't, as you guys know, I try to keep it as simple as possible. I work with kids. I like it simple. So it's just, go for it. Don't doubt yourself. And that's easier said than done. There is going to be doubt, but just trust in yourself that you can accomplish it. If you stay disciplined, push past the motivation, and you stay disciplined, you can accomplish whatever goals or whatever you want that's in front of you. So 2026, just reflect on 2025. Hey, what did I do? What do I want to improve on? Make your goals, or just think about some things that you want to accomplish in 2026 and go for it. And continue listening to me and Shane. I hope you guys get something from this, but we're also fun. Don't you want to hear the 97,000 ways that Shane's going to introduce this podcast? I love it. You're going to love it. And Shane's the fucking man.
You are too, Brett.
Yeah, just stay with us. And I hope if you guys have questions, you're always welcome to reach out. I can even put in the emails for my business, and if Shane wants to put in his, if you guys ever have questions, we can answer questions. And we're here to support and help you reach your goals as well. I think that's where I want to cut it. If I try to go anymore, I'm gonna confuse everybody, make it all complicated, and I said I want it simple. So that's it for me.
There we go. All right, see you guys later.
All right, see you guys.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. All right.